Good everyone, no trades today, bit of a frustrating one to be honest. My scanner wasn't showing the right stocks, so I missed some early movers, including FRGT, which had a nice run. I eventually figured it out, got things sorted, and the new setup actually felt smoother. Just too late to jump in. Here's how it all played out. So when I first, I'm bringing charts up here. When I first got up this morning, I saw KIDZ on my scanner, and this was up yesterday. And I saw it around, it had already made the high around just before 6 o'clock at $10.30, and it was pulling back around this area here. And I was too late to get in on this move here, and when it pulled back to here, I was like, no, it's on the back side of this move, and I just didn't jump in there at $9.50, $9.60 for the push back to 10. It's a quick push to 10, and then it pulled all the way back, and that was pretty much it. Sort of rolled over after that, hit the VWAP, held there for a little bit, went sideways, and then dumped. So I watched that up until about, I think it was here. What time was that? That was 7:20, yeah. So I've been watching this for a while and watching my scanner, and I thought it was weird because nothing was coming up on my scanners. There was just two stocks on it. It had FRGT and SOPA. And I think both of those stocks were up yesterday in after hours. I'm sure that was in after hours that popped up. Yeah, so it had made a move yesterday, FRGT, and then popped up again in after hours. And I think SOPA popped up in after hours yesterday as well. So my scanner was only showing me two stocks that were from yesterday after hours. It wasn't showing me anything else. So I thought I would jump over and check out the scanner on Webull, which I have used previously, and I still use Webull to check out after hours stocks and stuff like that. It's bookmarked for me, so it's pretty easy. So I checked out Webull, and this is basically how I check out Webull. Come in here, and it's got pre-market scanner, after hours scanner, and then 5 minute and the day scanner as well. So I checked out the pre-market scanner, and of course it had FRGT popping around 7:20, and I was like, all right, something's wrong with my scanner. So I used the Webull scanner to check out their stocks, and I saw FRGT popping up. Pre-market. So I saw it popping up after it just hit here. It had just made that high there at 240. It had pulled back, and probably not a bad place to buy in there, but it was a bit too soon for me, a bit too quick, and it pulled away up to 269. Then had a bit of an extended pullback down to 250. This was another good entry here on the $0.50, but once again, I didn't take that. I was still sort of sorting out my scanner and not really fully concentrating on the stock, unfortunately, because that was probably one of the better entries there at 250 at the $0.50, and it pretty much ripped to 380 after that. So that was a really decent trade in there if you managed to get in. Either there around 250 on the $0.50, or a break of the first green candle around 260, or even break of that previous high at 280 was still a good entry. Might have been a micro pullback there if you're pretty adventurous chasing that one, but then yeah, after that it was pretty much it. Then it pulled back, had a big topping tail up the top there, and pretty much that was the front side of this move here, and from then on it was just sort of the back side of that move. I did think about taking some trades after that, but just felt a bit out of sync, and was still sorting out my system and my setup. So missed the trade here off the whole dollar as it broke back through the whole dollar. There's an entry sort of in here around $3. Sorry, my marking's not very good. Around there, around $3. But it did get a bit choppy through this area here, sort of up and down, trying to break through 320 and then I got up to about 334, I think, up here, pulled back and then pushed to about 345. Then it grinded back down and again rallied off of $3. So it was holding around this $3 mark, and even further into the session it still held around that $3 mark. So pulled back there, pushed back up to make a new high at 382. So that was a nice move there. Let's drop that down a bit. That was a nice move there from $3 up to 382, and pretty clean. This is probably the best one to trade. And it wasn't as choppy as this. And there's a nice micro pullback there around 320. Again there around 330 and 340. There was a bigger pullback there for the push higher. So either points there to have an entry or add to your position for the pushback to 382. I missed all that. I just sat on my hands basically through this area, and then it rolled over. It did hold $3 again, or $3.15, but I just didn't think it had much in it, so I left it alone. And at the open, wrong screen. At the open, it had a little push from $3 again, from 290. Pushed back through $3 up to about 340, 345. But it was real up and down, real choppy through here. Usual sort of opening sort of movement, price action, and that was just too risky to take anything through the opening there for me. And then it rolled over below VWAP, and that was pretty much it for FRGT. So that was pretty much the only stock I looked at. I saw KIDZ, I think, pushed back over VWAP and did a bit of a move in the opening from memory, but that was pretty much it. I spent most of my time trying to sort out my new setup. So I hadn't quite figured it out before I started trading yesterday, so I sort of spent some time setting up my new platform. So I'm using TradingView and TradeZero, the free version of TradeZero. And so what happened with my scanner was set up, so I've set it up properly now, but I didn't have the extended hours ticked. So this button here wasn't ticked. So without that button, it actually only pulls out sort of the previous session, I think. It doesn't scan the current session. So it wasn't scanning the current pre-market session for stocks. It was just frozen on the after hours or post-market session. So my scanner wasn't working properly. So it's all seems to be working fine now. It should be all good going into next week. So I managed to fix that, and we'll make sure that that's working in the next session next week on Monday. The other thing as well is that I changed my setup for my trading. So this is actually the video of my new setup, and when FRGT was pushing. So I've changed it so that my market depth area is now in the middle of my screen, and that's much easier to read than having it way over here on the left hand side. And also it makes it easier just to switch between the chart here and the market depth. So I try to watch the market depth level 2 as much as I can, and then I look at my chart for my technical analysis, and then look at the market depth for resistance and support, and then that's where I sort of plan to take my entries and exits. Still have the TZ charts as well. I actually, by the end of the session, I had added the 9 EMA to my TradeZero chart. I like the 9 EMA because it often shows how extended a stock is, or often you can take a bounce trade or a trade off the 9 EMA. So I added that to that chart as well. And below that chart down here is the chart that I use for 5 minutes to show the 5 minute setups, and also I change that to the daily when I first look at it to see where it is on the daily chart. So that's my new setup. That's my watch list down here on TZ, so I can easily switch between stocks that are moving, and I try and remove stocks that are sort of out of play off that at the end of each session. And then the TradingView side over here is where I do most of my technical analysis. I like the chart setup on TradingView. It's much easier to use and read with the charts. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually use it for executions of my orders. The problem with it is that at the moment it's fine, it's connected, and you can see that the button's fine, but if I can skip through there, this is what happens, is the connection drops out and it's intermittent. So it'll drop out for a couple of seconds and it'll come back, and then sometimes it'll drop out for a little bit longer and then it'll come back. So the thing that scares me about that is that if I need to get out and it's in a point where I can't push that button because it's not connected to TradeZero, that can be a bit of an issue. It's okay if I'm placing an order to get in and I'm waiting, or if I'm placing an order to get out and I'm waiting for that order to fill when it reaches. So say if I'm buying in now, and I bought in and I'm in and it's coming up, and I put an order to sell, say at 338 where that yellow line is here, and that's fine because it'll sit there on the order until it's filled, and regardless of whether my TradingView platform is connected or not, it should still fill because that will be on the TradeZero platform, just sitting on the market waiting to be filled. The problem is that if I need to get out in a hurry and I have to cancel an order and then get out because the stock's flushing or something and I can't push that button, that could be an issue. So I might still use the TradeZero platform over here to buy and sell if I need to. But that was pretty much it for the day. So start of May, very small green day, and the second day of May, a no trade day. Which is not a bad thing really. Better to walk away with no trades than a loss, or trying to force something that's not going to work. So I didn't take a trade, but I still feel like I made progress. The setup's getting smoother, I fixed the scanning issue, and I'm starting to feel a bit more comfortable with this new workflow. Hopefully next week I'm a bit more in sync. If you're trading a small account too, hit subscribe to keep following the journey. Every day's a lesson, and I will see you next week. Hei te rā wiki.